Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Ripple is expanding currently while anticipating that they're going to have a big win against the SEC in the SEC v. Ripple case. And I will say this also, I know they're not going to publicly state this, but I would hazard a guess that even if they thought that there was some notable chance that they lose, that they still recognize that there's a, highly likely anyway, a path forward for XRP in the United States. So it's just been interesting to see. And the president of Ripple, in fact, Monica Long, she stated a number of things which I'll share with you in this video, including the fact, and I wanted to mention this right at the outset of the video, that their company is expanding, including in Q1 of this year, specifically. And it's been so fascinating to see the growth of RippleNet and specifically on-demand liquidity utilizing XRP as a bridge currency. Especially having been here now for over a decade and having all the haters back in the day saying, oh, that's never gonna take off. And then you find out that, the last major announcement they made is that year over year, they're up like whatever it was, 800 or 900%. That's pretty satisfying because I knew that what the Bitcoiners, maxis out there, just the haters, I knew that what they were saying wasn't making a damn bit of sense. And here you see in the real world, all of this adoption occurring. So all that to say, I'm looking forward to seeing what type of growth they've experienced in Q1, and that's going to be announced in their next major markets report, which is a few weeks away here. But keep in mind, this might be the last period where there will be a markets report that was before the conclusion of the SEC v. Ripple case. Of course, depending on when Judge Torres ends up sharing her ruling. But it'll be interesting to see the difference in adoption before and after. Will it make a difference? I actually argue yes. Now, in the rest of the world, I don't anticipate that's going to make a difference, except for with any corridor touching the United States. That, I would anticipate you'd see an explosion once there's a clear path forward for XRP, assuming we get that, though. That's the asterisk. We have to actually get that clarity for XRP specifically. And so I actually put out this tweet just a couple days ago. Will Judge Torres rule on the SEC v. Ripple case before this month ends? Now, I'd love to hear what you think in the comment section below. And I don't know. I've been optimistic that perhaps we'd see it, but with each passing day, some people think it becomes less likely here. But 46.4% think that, yes, we will see this before the month of March is over. 53.6% say no. I have no insight. Nobody knows. That's what I mean by that. But I'm just going to go with Attorney Filan, who said that his expectation, he said this last year, his expectation is that by the end of March of this year, we're going to see that rule. So I'm just going to flip a coin here and just say, yes, we're going to see it before the month's out, just for fun. And if I'm wrong, then there's absolutely zero consequences. So that one's an easy one to predict, but let me know what you think. Look at this headline from the Daily Huddle. Ripple president very hopeful of a win in SEC lawsuit against XRP, predicts when ruling is likely to be ready. Ripple Labs president Monica Long expects a positive outcome in the lawsuit filed by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, alleging its XRP token to be a security. Long says in a new CNBC interview that she is very hopeful that the ruling in the lawsuit will be in Ripple's favor, while predicting that the SEC is unlikely to win the lawsuit as the facts in the law are on Ripple's side. The president of the payments firm says that the crypto industry desires regulatory clarity and certainty from the U.S. markets regulator. And so here's a quote from Monica Long, Ripple's president. We think that the SEC winning the lawsuit, that's very unlikely, considering that, by our view, both the facts and the law are on our side. In terms of the broader picture of what's happening in the U.S. on the regulatory front, we're seeing action through enforcement versus setting clear rules and regulation, which is what all of us in the industry really desire, end quote. Now, according to the Ripple president, a ruling in the SEC lawsuit against the payments firm could be delivered before the end of 2023. And here's another quote from Monica Long. With the SEC lawsuit, both Ripple and the SEC have filed our motion for summary judgment. So the decision now rests with the judge to make her decision. We're optimistic about having a positive resolution there sometime this year, end quote. And I will tell you also, so having watched the actual interview that they're talking about here, I think it's about 6 minutes longer. So just the degree to which she was emphasizing Ripple, again, expanding despite everything that's happening really stood out to me. And it bodes well for XRP. Because obviously, I know Ripple could cease to exist and XRP can still have a bright future, but it's nice to see the adoption of XRP with Ripple use case of XRP as an actual bridge currency, and just understanding that even if you get a disaster scenario in the United States, which of course could cause the price of XRP for some period of time to plunge, eventually markets find a bottom, and I think that markets eventually, become a bit more rational after that. And people will recognize on a global scale, XRP is still going to get used for this use case. It would just be that literally the only corridor on the planet that XRP can't be used in would be a corridor touching the United States in a disaster scenario. It doesn't mean XRP ceases to exist. So that's probably more comforting to people outside of the United States than in the United States. And I understand that I'm in the United States, I'm in the good old Midwest here, which is why for me, if we actually get that disaster scenario, I mean, I've spent some time thinking about it, and I don't have a perfect answer for what I do, but I have to find some sort of path forward. Assuming that XRP takes off at some point in the future, because I still believe that it would. I'd have to find some sort of path forward for me to be able to realize some profit should we get to that point. I just don't know what that would look like. I don't have sufficient clarity on that right now, and that's frustrating too. But given that I am more optimistic that we're going to see some positive, when we get to this ruling from Judge Torres, I'm not exactly losing sleep over it, but it is something that's kind of in the back of my mind from time to time. I'm sure all of you out there listening in the United States, you probably thought through that as well. And it's even worse now in the United States, because just being in crypto in general, because like a lot of the on and off ramps from banks are just they cease to exist because these banks have just gone belly up, and not because of crypto, obviously, but they have. And there's this coordinated attack against crypto. It looks like, certainly, I believe that. I think the evidence is very obvious. There's copious quantities of evidence to indicate that is indeed the case. So it's more like when we have a run next time, can I even get out? I don't know what I'm going to do. Am I going to be forced to use stablecoins until I have an answer for that? Now the good news is, from what I've heard, it does seem that there are additional banks trying to pick up the slack, but it's just kind of a question, which banks are willing to do that knowing that the government's coming gunning for them effectively? So I don't know. We'll see here. And then there was also this article from You Today titled "Ripple CTO Challenges SEC to Clear Up Crypto Regulations." And they were just basically covering this tweet from David Schwartz. And it had to do with a retweet from this guy named Mark Forscher. And he was sharing some quotes from Coinbase's chief legal officer having to do with the fact that, I'm sure you all have heard, the SEC has indicated they do intend to sue Coinbase for their staking program and also for listing unregistered securities. So I don't know which cryptocurrencies they're going to claim are those securities, but that's what they've indicated they're going to do. And so, comically but accurately, David Schwartz, Ripple CTO and co-creator of XRP and the XRP Ledger, retweeted that thread, and he said, "Obviously, the SEC can't tell you what the rules are. If they do, you'll just comply with them." And so think about this. And I just, you got to sit there and wonder, like, if there are so many companies in the United States that are in crypto and so many of them are breaking allegedly clear laws, why are there so many bad actors in this space? Why would that be the case? And of course, if you're in the space and you look at who the actors are, you're like, no, you're talking about reputable cryptocurrency exchanges, companies like Ripple. There's no shortage of examples. Why would there suddenly be this many humans that are just like, yeah, I don't care about the law. I'd rather risk getting sued and losing everything. No, that's not how humans behave. They're just doing their best to operate in the United States. But now you see a flight of entrepreneurs outside of the going outside the United States because there is not this clarity. There's no way that there would be this many people just being like, oh yeah, there's laws and I could just fill out some forms and comply, but I'm just going to not do that. You think there's that many people that? No, of course not. And I know you guys know that, but it's just so frustrating because I wonder what people outside of crypto that just kind of casually read headlines, I wonder what they think. Probably they don't have a favorable opinion here, but they also don't have sufficient facts, but whatever. It is what it is. I'm still optimistic for the future, and it's just nice to see Ripple still expanding despite all of this nonsense that happens, because that does include the adoption of XRP. So I'll be very curious to see what the final numbers are for Q1, but Monica Long gave the first hint I've heard in that interview that we're probably going to be happy with what those results are. So feel free to drop a comment below on my poll. Tell me what you think of this poll. The poll's over. Had almost 5,000 votes, though. Again, about 46% say yes, the case can end this month. About 53% say no. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And thanks to the nearly 5,000 of you that voted. I very much appreciate it. Interesting to just kind of get a poll and take the temperature in the room on various topics from time to time. But I'll go ahead and wrap up here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.